They think it was a CIA psyop.
For what?
Modern art like that.
Come on.
Yes. Yeah. There's some evidence that points to the CIA.
Like when they just nail a banana to the wall or something?
Yeah, a little bit of that, but a little bit of like Jackson Pollock.
So, yeah,
like
I was going to bring up Pollock because Stern did that. Did you ever see when Howard did that? He was like, I can make a Jackson Pollock and you won't know the difference. And he did it on a sheet. Like, he did it and he put it next to each other and nobody knew the difference.
Yeah. So what they think is we couldn't compete during the Cold War with the classical artists of Russia. Like, there's some incredible painters in Russia at the time, and I'm sure there are now. But we didn't have a similar level. We didn't have a Da Vinci over here. We didn't have someone who could do what they were doing. And so the CIA came up with a plot to popularize nonsense art and make it like really huge and make all these investors want to spend money buying like nonsense art. And apparently I never would have considered that until I paid attention to all the other shit that they've done over the last, X amount of decades. And I was like, I think that's true. Because it doesn't make sense to me that that stuff would just emerge and all of a sudden be worth millions of dollars. And someone wouldn't figure out exactly what Howard Stern figured out, that I can make this on my own.
Right.
And you could just say it's a Pollock. This is a Jackson Pollock. And no one would know. Like, what are we talking about then? We're talking about something that anybody can do. If you look at the Mona Lisa, you're like, well, I can't do that.
Right.
Modern art was the CIA weapon. Spy agency used unwitting artists such as Pollock and de Kooning in a cultural Cold War. This is from The Independent. Well, there's a period in the 1950s and 1960s when the great majority of Americans disliked or even despised modern art. As for the artists themselves, many were ex-communists and barely acceptable in the America of the McCarthyite era, and certainly not the sort of people normally likely to receive U.S. government backing. So why the CIA support them? Because in the propaganda war with Soviet Union, this new artistic movement could be held up as proof of the creativity, the intellectual freedom, and the cultural power of the Russian art, of the U.S., rather. Russian art, strapped into the communist ideological straitjacket, could not compete. Hilarious. So because their artists were better, we decided to come up with some nonsense art and make people think that was the shit, and it worked. It worked.
But are we saying that they found those artists and propped them up?
No, the artists
saying that those
existed.
artists were
No, the artists already existed, but the CIA propped them up and pushed them out as being amazing. And they did it in an effective way.
That's wild.
They mind-fucked the American people into believing that terrible art is really good.